So I too am a bit of a book thief. My dear friend Ms. Gusta lent me this book about this time last year, and I have just read it this week. I am a terrible human being. That being said, I have to add my voice to the deafening praise surrounding The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Do I even need to give you a synopsis of this book? Now that I've finally read it, is there really anyone else left who has not read The Book Thief? Well, I'll offer some context in case you've forgotten. From the back of the book, 1939, Nazi Germany. The country is holding its breath. Death has never been busier. Liesel, a 9-year-old girl, is living with a foster family on Himmel Street. Her parents have been taken away to a concentration camp. Liesel steals books. This is her story of the inhabitants of her street when the bombs begin to fall. Oh, and the book is narrated by Death. Yes, by Death. When I told Miss Gusta I'd finished The Book Thief, her first question was, "Did you cry?" Of course I cried. I cried through the entire last part of this book. Actually, how long was that? That was part 10? That was about 50 pages. I cried for 50 pages. I don't remember it being that long. The Book Thief was devastating and beautiful and brutal when it came to capturing loss. Death as a narrator was actually quite charming though. He's taken by Liesel's story and he makes the mistake of seeing her and noticing her among all the humans he comes into contact with daily. I know some readers found Death to be too blunt or flippant when he talks about taking souls. I mean, the first page of this book states, "Here is a small fact. You are going to die." I guess some people don't like to be reminded of that. Yet I found this version of Death intriguing because he's aware of how neutral he is. He's kept quite busy during the Second World War collecting the souls of soldiers, concentration camp prisoners, and average citizens caught in the crossfire. And yet Death visits everyone with gentleness and respect, regardless of his or her politics or social status or any other arbitrary label. Yes, he does technically support tyrants who send people to the slaughter, but Death is also the last witness of a person's life. Also, I loved how Zusak constantly pointed out how the book was going to end for each of the characters. Of course, we're aware that great tragedy will visit Liesel by the end of the book, but I like that this tactic forces readers to pay attention to how these characters get to that end point, as opposed to having us wait till the shock of the moment. Death already knows Liesel's story and he's recounting it to the reader, so he gives the reader a bit of his omniscience, and we, by extension, come to understand just how difficult his job really is. And how can I not mention Hans Huberman? He's not a man who stands out in life, and he's not what you might imagine a successful man to look like, but I found him remarkable. Liesel's plagued by nightmares of her brother after his death at the beginning of the book, and it's Hans, her foster father, who sits by her bed every night to protect her. Hans is also the patient one who teaches Liesel to read and gives her the gift of words, which ends up saving her life. I wish there were more books focusing on this kind of love between two people, but then perhaps I would have lessened the effect of The Book Thief overall. Conundrum. I know this is my inner writer talking here, but I also loved how Zusak reclaims books in The Book Thief. Liesel spends most of her time stealing books from the private library of the mayor's wife. But you also get to see Max, a Jewish man in hiding, who reclaims the pages of Hitler's Mein Kampf as well. Max paints over the pages of Mein Kampf and uses them to write his own memoirs. And he uses the space to work through his regret over leaving his family to an unknown fate. Very profound and also very heartbreaking. There's so much to unpack here. And I feel like The Book Thief will only get richer with each new reading. So Ms. Gusta, thank you for lending me this book. And Markus Zusak, I apologize for arriving at your book so late. Please accept this 5-star rating as compensation. Signing off.